Oh baby, we are back. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a lovely not Tuesday, it's Monday. It's a Monday afternoon. It's late afternoon over here in Helsinki, Finland. Bright as fuck, too goddamn warm. It's 10 degrees Celsius, and that's way too much for me actually, as I prefer the 0 and belows. That's actually really nice. Don't have to don't have to worry about sweating everywhere, which is probably only my issue. Anyways, with that said, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest. Let's get into it right now, wasting no more time as we do check out the Krown Trading application, which can be found at app.krowntrade.net. It's 100% free, so check it out in the description below and claim your own free account if you haven't already. Anyways, what do we see that we already haven't seen from this morning's video? We actually did see open interest come down a little bit more from from this morning's video, about 150 million. It looks like from about 10.5 billion to where we're at right now, just above 10.3.5, and not really too much to be made out of that, as Bitcoin more or less just kind of ranges on short-term timeframes and holds the higher-term timeframe lows, at least for now. Anyways, with that said, top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins. We got Neo shitcoin over here rallying to the heavens and beyond. Doggy shitcoin going as well. Qtum, Solana, all those 2017 shitcoins having some really good times. As of the last week, actually, they've been perennial winners, or well, not perennial winners, but like weekly winners, if you will, for the last 5, 6, 7 days, I believe it is. And on the other side, actually, a lot of the same, a lot of the usual suspects actually getting beaten up over here too. Although this market is so goddamn bullish that the top 10 worst coins, they're not even that bad. I mean, they're not even actually down that much. In fact, the worst one, Terra USD, down at 0.78%. Everyone else actually even printing some green here. So if that gives you any insight about this market right now, it might just be alt season, in fact, as Hedera Hashgraph even up 3.26%. And again, this is like the top 10 worst coins. So that's actually incredibly interesting right there. Literally only 4 of them in the negative, and barely even. That is rather profound, actually. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. They are stablecoins. Yeah, I'd imagine that they are stablecoins. But again, my point is that, look, if your stablecoins are the worst performing coins in the whole goddamn market, that means that everything else is pretty much green, or everything else is green, quite literally. And those ones are, by design, supposed to kind of hold their own. So with that in mind, it's kind of hard not to say that there's still a bit of an altcoin season going on right now. Anyways, open interest still looking like it's putting in higher lows over the long period of time. I still do like this more or less over the long period of time, that is. But we don't really have too much to make out of it today, other than what has already been said over the last I guess 24 hours since we last spoke. So with that in mind, I think the other major thing that I want to put some eyes on would be the funding rate right here, of which we've seen a complete comeback down all the way to parity, with even some major exchanges posting some negative rates. OKX and Huobi both negative funding rates right there, which does suggest, or not suggest, but that does quite literally say that you are getting paid to hodl your longs right now, when Bitcoin is in a long-term and macro uptrend, and even the short-term time frames kind of holding their own here. So I do look at this first and foremost as a bit of a reset signal, and within the context of our current market structure and market cycle, I do look at this first and foremost as an opportunity. So let's go into the price action charts themselves. I don't want to do a full rehash of what we spoke about on this morning's video, but more or less as far as the short-term time frames go, we'll get into Coinbase a little bit later. Actually, Coinbase is looking very interesting right here. In fact, I'd even go as far as saying that I do believe Coinbase put in a bit of a local low. By the way, I do need to actually say something about this. By the way, Mark B's mum has sat on the sell button, and that's what caused yesterday's cascade. No, actually, a lot of I guess people on Twitter and YouTube and crypto Reddit and all these great social media venues that you're all familiar with and that I'm familiar with have been posting the same sort of story, that all of the higher ups in Coinbase sold all of their shares on the direct listing. That's actually not true. If you go through the data, I think Brian Armstrong sold 1.5% of his total shares. And keep in mind, this is a direct listing. This isn't like an IPO. So that's not really a sign of weakness to begin with. They're gonna have to sell some to, right off the bat. That's the whole point of it. It's kind of spread it around, because it's not doing it in an IPO fashion where people just could, buy it up essentially. So with that in mind, it's definitely a different situation. I don't really know where people are getting this idea idea, but whatever it is, it's like literally wrong, which is extremely interesting. Bitcoin to 1 million tomorrow, sir? Maybe in Venezuelan bolivars, perhaps. Hey, what's up, Nimbo? There he is, my fucking man. I see everyone here. What's up, Rubix? Hey, good to see you, man. Very much good to see you. By the way, Divinity Original Sin 2, best game ever. Anyways, with that said, on the short-term timeframes for Bitcoin, I do think that we are seeing a little bit of a short-term high here as Bitcoin does kind of curl back on over. We do see that the hourly TSI is right at the bearish bias, at the neutral zone trend line here, or not trend line, but just neutral zone area. And so if you are going to see another turn down, that would actually very much play in line with this one, just kind of awesome within the short-term time frame range here, as Bitcoin does play at a high at about 57.5 to the upside versus about 54,000 bucks to the downside. Anywhere within this range right here is fair game for right now. And seeing as we just kind of test the top side of that range, I would essentially be looking for it to come back down. Now, extremely short-term time frames, your range would be around 56,000 bucks. I don't know how many people are trading like the hourly and below, but fair enough. I actually do think that it is rather relevant in this situation. The reason why I say that is because we are dealing with, a multi-$1,000 range here. But there was a very interesting comment on the Twitch stream I was doing earlier, which I want to kind of call out right now, not to make fun of this person, but more importantly to kind of put a little bit of, or just for my own understanding, like I'd really like to understand what people are thinking in this case. But in this morning's video, I said that Bitcoin, could very easily come back down to 55,000 bucks, and I'd look at that as an opportunity on the short-term time frame ranges here first and foremost. And this person, bless his heart, was asking, do you still think that major move could happen? It's like, whoa, hold on. If you consider this a major move, which is, technically speaking, it is about a $3,000 move, or sorry, $2,500 move from where we're at right now. But that needs to be taken into consideration of the general structure here. It doesn't really do anything, man. The problem is that Bitcoin can move like 10,000 bucks plus, and at this point it actually would break structure, obviously. But we saw that a couple days ago, and that technically did not do it just yet. Hey, what's up, Sarah Beasto? Been a while, man. Yeah, we'll definitely look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, but as usual, it would be great if we could get through the Bitcoin analysis first. Then we'll get on to shitcoins like Ethereum and et al. Insane, Mr. Robert Drew. Again, I appreciate it. I don't want to sound like unthankful, but please, if we can get through the Bitcoin analysis first, then we'll swing back around. And if I could say in the future, if you really are inclined to request something like that, it would be much better if you just waited until after the Bitcoin analysis, because otherwise these messages can and sometimes do get lost in the ether of the YouTube comment section. So hopefully that's done in a respectful way, but yeah, it would be greatly welcomed by myself if that could be done. Anyways, okay, cool. All right. So looking at this right here, yeah, it does look like Bitcoin's putting in a little bit of a short-term high. 200 simple and 200 exponential average acting as the upside resistance on the medium-term timeframes right here. And I'd say that's about just below, or just around 58,000 bucks. I'd say I'd use the 200 simple in this case. God damn it, Brizzy! God fucking damn it! Should I go 100x long or 100x short on Bitcoin? Actually, you should do both and just come out neutral because. Because if you're going to have a shitty strategy, you might as well just double up on your shitty strategy and go to the fucking moon on a shitty strategy. There you go, my friend. Anyways, all jokes aside, I don't think that you should do either. In fact, I think most people probably are better off not margin trading at all, to be honest with you, as evidenced by this last weekend. I mean, one of the guys in the Discord who a lot of people are very, very much familiar with, and they'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about when I mention this, but one of the guys in the Discord months ago said, in a Bitcoin bull market, who gets liquidated more? Well, long positions. In this case, that is actually exactly what we saw over the weekend. In fact, 10.5 billion in long positions being liquidated, and absolutely brutal, right? Anyways, I'm getting way off fucking track right now. So again, this is only relevant for the short-term time frames right here. What I should really be doing is I should actually flip it around like this, or we could do it like this, with your top side right between the 200 simple and 200 exponential average right there. I'll put it just below 58,000 bucks. As long as we're oscillating within this region right here, there's no major calls on my behalf. I do look at this as more or less constructive on the higher term time frames. I do look at this as first and foremost trying to put in a higher low, as Bitcoin does have several things going on the 12-hour and daily thus far. And for the daily right now, Bitcoin actually will confirm hidden bullish divergence if it can confirm a low here. And we do see a very light area coming in from this from our last few lows, that is coming in from January 21st. Actually, let's see how far back this goes. Not too far back, but for the last few months, yes, Bitcoin has been playing off the middle of this of this neutral zone range right here. God damn it, Go Lucky. Oh, you bastard. Hi, bruv. After Bitcoin, can you see if Doggy... Yeah, man, we'll talk about Dogecoin soon enough. God damn it. All right, anyways, looking at this right here, what I could do to make this a little bit more visually apparent is we could do something like this, mark off our current areas. And you see that Bitcoin's been finding a lot of lows within this region on the daily RSI. We're talking about this area right here, again, 27th of January. We're talking about this area right here, 25th of March, and then more recently, this one just from yesterday, actually. And let's just go correlate what these lows were like on the run up. And that would be, of course, this low right here, 27th of January at 30,000 bucks before Bitcoin quite literally marched its way up all the way up to 60,000 bucks. More recently, we saw this one in March, of course, and that one was at the $51,000 low before marching up to a total price of about 64, almost 65,000 bucks, and then once again hitting it right here first. So first and foremost, I always go with market trend on the higher term timeframes and also the macro, and in this case they're both one and the same. They're both to the upside, so I always go in with that as my bias at first. That does mean when Bitcoin reverses on the first reversal move, I am going to be wrong. That is going to be a bad strategy, but that also is kind of strategy that does keep you safe in these massive moves to the upside over a long period of time. Anyways, for what it's worth right now, as long as Bitcoin holds this range and kind of tying it together, what we spoke about on this morning's video and what we're speaking about right now, the lower term timeframes, as long as they hold, and in this case, again, I actually am looking for a short-term move to the downside here, but as long as this area does hold right here, 54,000 bucks, I am looking for this, or I am looking at this first and foremost as potential higher low in place with momentum oscillators supporting that, as again, we will have potential hidden bullish divergence confirmed with any sort of a confirmed local low right here. To put this 100% hopefully crystal fucking clear, can Bitcoin confirm a local low today? Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely no. Well, it's not that it's impossible, but what would need to happen in order to confirm this as a local low is we need like some sort of look, it's very unlikely, but we need something like this, right? Where we'd obviously like, well, we've kind of already come back down and tested a little bit below the closure on the last daily low. But if Bitcoin were to like maybe close above yesterday's high, yes, that would be a confirmed local low, and then all good, and we could target moves back up to 64,000 plus. But for right now, what I'm looking for is a short-term time frame range which resolves into the higher term time frames, and as long as that does hold around 54,000 bucks, Bitcoin will inevitably create that hidden bullish divergence, and then I will be targeting moves back up somewhere around about 60,000 bucks. Why 60,000 bucks? Well, that's right around the 21 and 10 simple in this case, and also more importantly, we do see that is exactly where the gap is on good old CME closure from last Friday, and you can see right here we do see that wick down right around 60,350-ish region, so anywhere around there would be good enough for me, and that would very likely push back on the first test as it typically does. So with all of that in mind, this market needs to be taken one leg at a time, of course, but if Bitcoin can essentially hold this range without breaking 54,000 bucks, within this next 36 hour period, I'd be looking at that as more or less a good signal. As long as Bitcoin goes sideways here, that is more or less good on the higher term time frames that will obviously or inevitably spill on over. See if the 2-day has the same thing potentially in line as well, and it could actually, it very well could, in fact, as we do see that 2-day RSI is making a lower low on top of Bitcoin potentially putting in a higher low right here. I think this one's rather obvious, but again, until Bitcoin actually does confirm that higher low, there's nothing to really play off of in this case. I just want to show the potential, and in this case, same thing on the 3-day actually as well. I believe if we, actually, yes, indeed it is. But the 3-day not being closed tonight, not being closed tomorrow night, but I believe the night after that, in fact. Yeah, it's closing on the 22nd, so yeah, that'll be 2 nights. Yeah, about 2 nights from now. Sorry, the only gap filled is my Angus. My Angus have been filled. Nice. What kind of filling do you have, sir? Do you like to put ranch in that hole? Because it's really fucking good for you if you chug it. I learned that one from the TVs. Anyways, yes, so going back down into the lower term timeframes, I'm curious now what momentum oscillators are suggesting here. We do see 4-hour does have potential hidden bearish divergence in place here. We did make a slightly higher high on RSI, it looks like. Let me just double check. We're looking at a 43.22 read right here, and we're looking at a 43.15 read right here. Actually, technically no, although that's so fucking close where I would say that probably going to play out anyways. I imagine on the 3-hour, it's definitely going to have it. Yeah, even on Stamp, it's the same thing. So I'm going to go to the 3-hour here and see if it's present. And let's see. Actually, no. In fact, it's not. So that's actually rather interesting. What about the bi-hourly? Does bi-hourly have it? Yeah, bi-hourly definitely has it. Caretaker RSI getting it right there. So I am inclined to say that there is going to be a short-term time frame pullback somewhere around 55,000 bucks, maybe even 54,000 bucks. Anywhere in that pocket right there is completely fine. Again, as long as Bitcoin does not break that area on a 2-hour or 4-hour closure. On a 2-hour, I'd be a little bit lower than that to be fair, but on a 4-hour, it'd be about 54,000 bucks. Then I do look for this to very likely get reaccumulated and try again to the upside overall. But for now, I do think that Bitcoin has found a little bit of a short-term high. If we go over here to our secondary charts, we can see that Bitcoin on the 4-hour and below is a little bit in a precarious place. Technically speaking, the 4-hour stokes are getting out of the bearish control zone on this next tick, but it does not look super strong to me right now. It looks more like a bit of a bearish reset, to be quite honest with you. 3-hour doing the same thing, not necessarily making a new high above the last high, and in this case, certainly making a much lower high as far as price action goes. And buy hourly is doing what? Buy hourly is already at the fucking top, and price action has not even created a new trend right here. So that is not going to be a signal of immediate reversal right here. And same thing on the hourly as well. In fact, already kind of angled down. So I do look for this to likely test again to the downside in the short-term time frame ranges, but I'm not necessarily looking for a break there. But let's talk about what happens if Bitcoin were to break this again with a 4-hour closure below 54,000 bucks or a 2-hour closure below about 53.5, we'll call it. One of those two scenarios would certainly resolve that for myself, and I would look for a rather quick move down to about actually Sunday's dump dildos at about 51,000 bucks. I would be looking for another bounce there, but ultimately that would be the next really big signal that I'd be looking for in order to call potentially a macro cycle top here. Although I think it's very unlikely. I do think a major top would very much would obviously be in the cards. And when I say a major top, I'm looking for about a 30 to 40% pullback from the high of that run. And in this case right here, we've already seen about a 20% pullback from top to bottom. Yeah, about 21% on that dump dildo party from about Sunday. Again, it wasn't exactly all 20 on Sunday itself, but if we were to just look at Sunday itself, it was about 15.25% right there. So again, if we were to put this into a different perspective, let's just shave off like 30% to 40% off of our current high here. 30% for perspective would put Bitcoin around the March 21st lows, or sorry, around early March lows, which would be about 45,000 bucks. Obviously, 40% is going to probably bring us down to like, I would imagine right there, actually. Funny how these things do have confluence with each other. And what do you fucking know? Right on the dot at the 200x Benjamin average on the daily, nonetheless, right around 40 or just below 40,000 bucks would be around that price action. And of course, we all know, or at least if you've been on this channel for a little bit of time now, that Bitcoin in its bullish markets does or has been known to have those 30 to 40% pullbacks within the context of a general macro uptrend. I'm referencing all of these guys back on over here. I won't measure them all out because they're pretty much all the same. And if you've been on this channel for even like a few weeks here, you probably know this one over here about 30% top to bottom. This one over here about 30, almost 40% actually. Sorry, yeah, 40% right there. This one 34%. This one over here about 33.25%. This one over here about 38%. You can see that there's definitely, or I wouldn't say definitely, but there is a rhyme for these. They typically do rhyme with each other, of course. Anyways, my point is that if Bitcoin were to come back down, break the range as we just laid out right here, then I probably would be looking for one of those. Yes, as the daily would have a reversal. And if the daily does have a reversal, well, that would be our first daily reversal in a very long time. When was the last time that we actually had a downtrend on the daily? It was actually back on over here. Guess what? That was Bitcoin's last 30% pullback, in fact. And it's pretty much only 30% pullback, I believe. Yeah, literally about 30% to the dot. This one over here actually looks rather similar too, but about 26 and some odd change right there. Pretty damn comparable. Anyways, my point is that if Bitcoin does want to play out a pullback, that's where I'd be looking towards 45,000 bucks and then 39,000 bucks essentially. And I'd be looking at that as a major opportunity because I do not believe that this is a macro top. Why do I not believe that this is a macro top? Well, the three things that I'm looking for to define a macro top, although there certainly are more, but I think these three things are, pretty damn easy to kind of follow, have not shown their face at all, in fact. If we go over here to the weekly, we can even do this on a bi-weekly. In fact, let's just do that this time just because I think it'd be a little more interesting. But Bitcoin on the bi-weekly, anytime that we have seen a macro high, RSI has been above about 95. This tick over here is the lowest of those peaks, and that's about 95, as you can see. This one over here, about 95.08. This one over here, about 97.13. And this most recent one, while pretty damn aggressive, was just over 90. So not necessarily there. Historically speaking, we have seen again 95. That is. If we go over to a weekly, we can see this. We can see a similar sort of interplay here, but I'm a little bit more skeptical about this one because we actually did see a pretty damn high read early January. That was when Bitcoin was right around about 42,000 bucks before playing out that first 30% pullback, right? That we just looked at. So that has already played out. If you are looking at this right here, and if we do go back in time, we can see that all these highs, or at least all these major pullbacks, and some of them being macro cycle highs, highs do all come above about 90. Yes, they all do come above about 90. As you can see right now, weekly RSI is nowhere near there. Bi-weekly RSI is a little bit closer, to be fair, but my point is that we don't have that condition just yet. The other condition that I'd really be looking for is weekly HVP. I need to see this get in the red zone. Bitcoin has never put in a macro cycle high ever without putting in red HVP. And when I'm talking about red, I mean like above 90 percentile. And realistically, you want to see it get to like 95 plus. You want to even see it get to 99 in this case. These are extremes. That's what it's essentially telling you. And you can backtest this yourself, of course, as well. Anytime that Bitcoin's seen one of these major highs, especially on macro cycles, it's always come alongside of the red over here. Now we can even go down to a 3-day as well, and this is going to give you a few more iterations of those red zone reads, and that doesn't just give you the market cycle highs, also gives you a lot of the bottoms too, and some of the more aggressive highs that produce those 30 to 40% pullbacks within the year of 2017, as you can see over here. Even more recently in 2020 right here on coronavirus dump tides, told you basically about the low. So while we actually did hit that again in early January, you can see that it's nowhere fucking near here, like nowhere near. In fact, on a 3-day, it's actually below 50 percentile. And on a weekly, it is getting up there. It is certainly getting up there. It's around 75 percentile right now, but it's obviously not a 90 plus read. So this would still imply that Bitcoin probably does have maybe another push before one of those major massive pullbacks in this case. And of course, if Bitcoin does take out the downside ranges we overlaid earlier, then I would be looking for one of those 30 to 40% pullbacks, which is either 45,000 to about 39,000 bucks, and I look at that as an opportunity. And again, I don't really look at this as a macro cycle top because we just don't have any of the things that I've been looking for over the history of Bitcoin that have correlated with a macro cycle top. And then the last one, and the most obvious one, although this one will tell you it'll also tell you the last one as well, would just simply be the weekly trend. Anytime that Bitcoin's reversed the weekly trend, those have always been your mega macro moves, always getting the highs and the lows, but not the actual high, not the actual low, because it is a fucking trend reversal. So you need to wait for that lower low or that or that lower high in this case. And in this case right here, we have neither. Obviously, Bitcoin just put in a high, of course, so it's not even a topic of consideration right now. Does anyone in the audience know the HVP settings? I can tell you right now, man. I'll just show you. It's actually pretty simple. I got a 252 annual length. This is what a lot of people kind of fight over. I find the best results with this. This is obviously optimized for traditional land because 252 days is about how many trading days you have in the year. But I find that it works well for Bitcoin as well. As you can see, back tested pretty fucking good. And more importantly, with Bitcoin having CME futures now, it does trade on a more professional schedule. That's also why I did look at the weekend dump as a little bit of with skepticism, right? Because anytime that we've seen a reversal on the weekend, ever since CME's debuted, I've never seen follow through on top of it. We've not seen one situation where a reversal on the weekend that was contrary to the week's direction, and of course the macro direction as well, in this case, get follow through. And that statement gets very much misheard. That a lot of people translate that statement into like, Krown said that Bitcoin's move over the weekends never worked. It's like, no, for the love of fucking God, no. Reversals over the weekend do not get follow through. At least to now. I mean, could that change at some point? It would be naive to say no, but for now we have that trend, and the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. And there's no reason for myself as a trader to not look at that as legitimate until proven otherwise, of course. So yeah. Hey, what's up, Lone Sophist? How you doing, man? Good to see you, Mr. Katsukijian. Which HVP is that, sir? They're all the same, man. They all come from the same ship. But this one's actually made by one of my friends, Mr. Bear Nutrition. He goes by Coop sometimes as well. You can also get the one from Caretaker in the Discord. Pretty fucking simple stuff. But like I said, they all come from the same sort of base calculations, so they're going to be all the same basically. It's all about the actual settings itself, and the different colors that you got going on over here. I mean, that's obviously personal, of course. Anyways. Okay, what else did I want to... Hey, what's up, biggest Dickus? Welcome, Mr. Dickus. Welcome, Mr. Dickus, to the cave, sir. Jesus Christ. But Krown, says Ricky Bobby. How you doing, man? Okay, cool. So what else did I want to... But Krown, they told me up only. I know that's become a little bit of a meme, but honestly, man, I think Crypto Cobain, Kobe as he sometimes goes, he actually has some pretty interesting information alongside his partner, Ledger Status, I think it is. They actually seem like pretty well-informed guys, and while they do kind of have their memes, just like I have my own memes too, I think that they do temper that out rather well. So, but I heard up only. I mean, you have to understand that someone like Crypto Kobe, who I'm guessing you're referencing, who, you know, he's the guy who kind of, I guess, originated that, maybe, or at least he's the one who popularized it. These guys have been in since the dawn of time. You know, they've been in since like 2011, right? So when they say up only, they're probably looking at like a quarterly, and they're like, well, yeah, it does only pretty much go up, right? So fair enough. You know, there is a sincere difference in mentality between, you know, those sorts of people who will just hold pretty much no matter what, and the people, you know, like the new blood who comes in during every market cycle, right? And the new blood, they get very much rocketed by a move like what we saw yesterday, which fair enough. I mean, it was an intense move, no doubt about that. But if you look at that within the context of Bitcoin's history, is it out of character? Is it out of characteristic? Not at all, really. And again, being that it was a weekend move, I'm very skeptical of it actually getting follow through here. At the very least, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to try again somewhere around about 59,500 to 60,000 bucks. But I'd be very much unwilling to call the reversal just based off that in the way that we have it just now. I mean, we don't even have a fucking reversal to begin with, so fair enough on that. Anyways, okay, what else do I want to check out? Yeah, traditional markets really quick. I do want to see what symbol XLK is doing. The tech sector looks like it's going to be it's going to be upping OP. Nice. Okay, I have dyslexia and I can't fucking speak. What I'm trying to say is, looks like it's going to be opening up new all-time highs, and the weekly, as we said last week, bullish as fuck. Same thing as NASDAQ, which it obviously comprises about half of that, and that's not right here. Getting a little bit of a pullback on futures going into open here, but I would be looking for this one to very likely try again to the upside. I don't really have any real reason to be bearish off this as it is. Short-term pullback, yep, that's no problem. In fact, a little bit of bearish divergence, as you can see right here. I wouldn't mind to move back. I mean, we already got the move to the 21, so that's usually where I look towards, but I wouldn't mind a move at all towards 13,850-ish region, as we said on this morning's video. Ultimately, though, I would be looking for this one to try new all-time highs this week, actually. So yeah, a little bit of a backfill would be, yeah, at about 13,850-ish region. Yeah, open last week was 13,820, so that would be close enough for me. So yeah, I would be looking for this one to probably play out a little bit of a pullback and then try again to the upside overall. Similar to Bitcoin here, we do see weekly TSI crossing the upside in the critical zone. We see weekly RSI getting into the bullish control zone for the first time in a while here on new highs. I don't hate that at all, man. Same thing on SPY too. A little bit of a short-term pullback, it looks like. 4 hour could easily come back down to 4150-ish region. I'd even look for potentially a move to 4140-ish region, but overall, do I think that this one tries for new all-time highs this week? Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, daily, weekly, all higher term timeframes are bullish here. This thing could come all the way back down to even like 4120 and still maintain, pretty damn good posturing here for the long term. I mean, that'd just be a backfill in last week open. So I can't really hate that. In fact, I look at that as an opportunity first and foremost. Doesn't mean that I can't reverse, but at least for right now, I do look for another try to the upside over the long period of time. Anyways, I guess we can get into comments now. Benji says, short doggy with 100x. Not a very good idea. Problem is with shorting in this market is, especially during alt season, is that the market can say, what is the saying? The market can stay irrational longer than you can say solvent. In this case, I don't really have a reason to look. I actually don't think that TA works so well on a pump and dump like Dogecoin. But if I did have to look at it, how to look at it versus the US dollar first and foremost. I mean, we did say last week this thing's gonna make new all-time highs. I really don't trust this one all that much because look, this thing just dumps out of fucking nowhere for what it's worth. But at the end of the day, man, it would be hard for me not to be bullish off this. And do I think that this one has new highs? Yeah, I do. We don't even have bearish divergence on the daily just yet. Next drive very likely will make bearish divergence because we just got so fucking high on that last drive. Actually, let's go zero back in on this one. High was 96.16 on the daily. I mean, that's pretty up there, man. Alongside HVP redlining here, I think this one's very close to being done, but I do think that it has another move to the upside first, and then we'll kind of judge it after that. All right, I want to try to bring up some of the comments from the very beginning here. Let's see if I can still bring him up. Hopefully I can for Sarah Bistos and Robert's sake. Yes, indeed we can. All right, so Sarah Bisto, what's up, man? It's been a long time, man. Good morning from New York. Oh, I didn't know you were American, actually. Ethereum, Bitcoin. Okay, we can definitely check out that one, and it is of interest to myself as well, as I do kind of look at this as like the altcoin index. First off, what stands out as far as the daily goes, I see that this one has obviously held the lows and continuing with the uptrend, but I want to see this on a weekly as well. Weekly looks good. I really like this setup right here. Yes, the 200 simple is in the way, right around about 4 million Satoshis, but I like what's going on right now. We do have a golden cross pretty much in the works here. I'd say maybe even next week, but Caretaker in his great knowledge has actually constructed a moving average crossover for us, and we can actually see exactly what level that would be needed. So let's see, I got my golden cross right here. That's 55 and 200, and he's showing 0.05. Hold on, let's actually elongate the decimals because that's not going to be enough for something like this. Let's give it like 6. See what this one populates. Okay, there we go. Oh no, it's unlikely to happen this week actually, or at least. If it were going to happen this week, it would need to close above not 5 million. I think that's 5 billion actually, or 50, or is it 50 million? Hold on, what is this number? What is this number? Hold on. It is about 5 million. It is about 5 million. I do have that number right. So unlikely to happen this week, but probably next week, assuming that things don't have a catastrophic drop, let's call it below like 3.6 million Satoshis. I'd probably be looking for this one to get going here, especially with a golden cross on the weekly along the way, along an actual trend reversal. We have our first higher low on the weekly in a very long time. And the second that this thing makes a higher high above 4.3, I'd be looking for this thing to fucking rip. I'm talking about a target towards 6 million Satoshis. This thing's going to fucking run if that happens. 6 million Satoshis would be the next major area of interest, but do I think that things will stop there? No, I think 8.5 million Satoshis is where I'd really be looking towards. All right, cool. Let's see. Robert wants to look at Pond USD. Okay, we can look at that. Pond USD. All right, Pond USD. Binance, I think here. Really not a whole hell of a lot of history, man, so I really don't... Oh, it's garbage, man. We got the shittiest chart of the day already. We got the shittiest chart of the day award already getting granted towards Pond USD. I mean, look, man, this thing has barely any history, but the history that it does have is just a dump dildo party right in front of your face. Short term, I'll be looking downside 16 cents. I wouldn't really be willing to call anything more than that, man. I don't trust shitcoins out of this young man. I really don't. So unfortunately, I'm just hesitant to give you like a full opinion on this, just because I can't have an opinion on something like this, man. It's, I have to be transparent here. I don't fucking know as far as the long term goes. There is no long term for something that's been around for like a month. This thing's barely been around for a month, man. I don't have any long term to give you. But it not even a daily, man. I mean, you're asking for a daily, but look, you can barely even populate a fucking 21 period moving average here. It can't be done, man. At least I wouldn't be doing it here. Short term though, I would be looking for some downside. If I had to call it, do I think this one just completely collapses? Probably yes. Probably yes. But I don't think I'd be willing to stand by that statement. Okay, cool. Go Lucky said, oh no, we already looked at Dogecoin, so cool. Do I think that it could go to 69 cents? Well, I know that's a bit of a meme there, but we can actually check it out. Maybe I can come up with a few targets here. Let's see if we got some cool tools to be using. 4 hour has an obvious range, so we can base it off of the 4 hour here, no problem. Although, how much do I trust it right now? It did hit the first sort of area of interest with a 1.414 at about 42 cents. Next areas of interest would not be 69 cents. It'd actually be 55. So that could be the big one for me. I do think that this one does have one more push to the upside, but I also do think that this one's very fucking close to a major top. If this thing hit 55 cents, I'd be a little bit wary of that. I actually don't see anything coming around 69 cents, but if it does take out 55 cents, I would look for a move somewhere around 64 to 65 cents overall. But again, man, I'd really cautiously get something like this. I don't trust technical analysis on quite literally a pump and dump. Although in that case, it would suggest a little bit more upside, to be fair. All right, cool. Mahedao says, sir, oh, wait, God damn it. Done tricked me again, sir. Nice one. I see Highway Jesus. There's some great usernames in this chat. Fucking great usernames. I love it. Okay, cool. Got those ones already. Got that one. Okay, I think I'm getting to the more recent ones here. All right, Justin Daughtry says, hey, Krown. Hello, Justin. Can you take a look at one USD on the 4-hour, please? Sure. Sure. This one's Harmony, right? And I think we saw it on the top 10 best coins today. Is that right? 4-hour, you said. Yeah, 4-hour down. I'd be looking for 4-hour to come back down somewhere around the 377 here at about just about 11 cents. Retest that low, but I'd also be looking for a bounce off that low at the same time. I know you didn't ask for a daily, but I'm curious to see here, just because it is relevant for Bitcoin. Obviously, if a lot of altcoins look like they're gonna, spill the fuck out, then probably not going to bode too well for Bitcoin as this market more or less does move together. But in this case, I'm not really getting too much from the daily. It is a little bit droopy there, to be fair, but low HVP alongside this thing. Well, I mean, technically it is in downtrend right now, so it's kind of hard to love, but I'm very hesitant I'd be very hesitant to call like a breakdown here. I do think that it has some short-term downside, somewhere around like 11 cents or so, but probably another bounce there, to be fair. Okay, cool. All right, Abbott Dynamic. Hey, what's up, Abbott? Hey, Krown. Hope you're doing well. I'm actually doing a lot better, man. My throat's okay. my throat's great. really lubricated throat right now. I don't feel like I have a fucking balloon inside my head too, which is credit to, I guess, allergies. And things are starting to get nicer and nicer outside. Anyways, I haven't heard you discuss it in a bit. I think we could hit the lows again. Dixie. Yeah, Dixie. Okay, talking about Dixie. Yeah, man. So Dixie is completely spitting out its whole fucking rally. Last time I looked, let's go check it out. Where's my damn Dixie chart here? There it is, found it. All right, yeah, it's completely just barfed up this whole goddamn rally. So I was looking for this one to put in a bit of a higher low, somewhere around about 92 bucks. That condition was obviously not met. Breaking below the 21 was the key component for that one. And do I think that this one goes for the full retrace now? Very likely, yes. I do think that it will go back down somewhere around about 90 to 90 and a half bucks on the weekly schedule. So over the next few weeks here. Short term, it's actually looked like a continuation almost immediately for right now. This one's having a fresh breakdown as we do get a 4-hour death cross, although I don't necessarily trust it too much on these, on these more exotic pairs. Or it's not even really a pair, but these more exotic, it's not even an asset because it's a dollar fucking index. You can't even really trade it, but you know what I mean. Anyways, more importantly, daily's already taken out the lows too, so we are in continuation right here on all time frames. So yeah, I do think that this one does come down somewhere around 90 and a half, maybe even 90 even, and then tries to bounce there. I would not be willing to say that this is your next macro high just yet. I do think that this is a major high in the weekly, but is it a macro high? I would not be willing to say that just yet. I do think that if it comes back down somewhere around 90 to 90 and a half, I would be looking for big bounces and very likely another base being built within this region. But with all of that in mind, this should naturally benefit, everything else that kind of trades against the dollar. Obviously not directly, but it is implicative that the dollar is weakening, obviously. So I do think that bodes well for Bitcoin in the short term as well. And while I do think that this one probably will put another, at least medium term bottom within this region, if it does test back down to these regions, it would align with Bitcoin having another, and most cryptos having another drive here. Okay, cool. All right, Chimero says, hello, mate. Hello, sir. Hello, mate. Hello, mate, sir. Would you be kind and check Link USDT? Sure. Do you have like a time frame in mind, sir? Oh, nice. I see that we got Pedro and Nimbo and 420, the OG of OGs, and CryptoKitty. Holy shit. It's an OG day right now. This is beautiful. Anyways, sorry. Okay, daily, weekly is a downtrend breakout on Link Bitcoin daily confirmed. Well, you're asking about two things there, man. I'm going to look at Bitcoin USD because I think that's a little bit more interesting here. There's nothing downtrending about this in any way, shape, or form, not even fucking close. In fact, this is literally a continuation of an uptrend as it is right now with yesterday's closure for the weekly. So I would be looking potentially for a little bit of short-term downside. Like I said yesterday, I do think, actually, I think yesterday I said 38.5, which we're at right now. Oh my God, that is just dastardly there. I actually would lower that even a little bit more. I do think this thing could easily come back down to like 35 bucks or 35.5 bucks. But ultimately, I would be looking at that as an opportunity. Even where it's at right now, I think it's kind of an opportunity, to be honest with you. This one is still bullish on the higher term timeframes. Daily's a little bit more under pressure, to be fair, but yeah, daily does look like a little bit more of a pullback, to be fair. But again, 21's coming in right around about 35.5. I think that would be at the very least a bounce on the first pass. Weekly still continuation for now. There's nothing bearish about this chart in any way, shape, or form. Hidden bullish divergence on the weekly right here. It's some of that phantom div, if you want to call it that. I actually like that term. And weekly TSI is turning up at the same time. I'm on continuation of a new all-time high plus trend continuation at the same time, all in higher term timeframes. Yeah, I look at that as more or less good, man. You know, I'd be defaulting to the weekly here. The daily is not so clear. Ultimately, though, I do think that this one still does make a run towards probably $50. But again, you know, looking at this long term, do we see any other signs of potential highs? Actually, I'm not seeing a whole hell of a lot on the daily here. Like, this thing's not even making divergences for right now. So this is, yeah, I'd have to be looking at this as a still likely continuation amongst everything else. Okay, Luke T says, Bcash, please, brother. All right, no time frame given, no base pairing given. So I'm just going to go to USD on this one, Mr. Luke. And I'm going to go to a daily as well on Binance. I keep on seeing Roger Ver's face around the web. I was watching Nomad Capitalist, you know. Hello, this is Andrew Henderson with Nomad Capitalist, and today we're talking with Roger Ver, and he was showing his Bcash there pretty damn hard. He was talking about how you can use Bcash in some fucking country that no one's ever heard of at most places now. It's like, great, man, really happy for you. Anyways, looking at this, yeah, this is actually pretty fucking good for the information that we do have. Looking at the weekly RSI, we do have 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bull div back in the bullish control zone on new highs. Plus weekly TSI crossing up again. Look, man, I have to be looking for new all-time highs, or it's not new all-time highs, but I'm looking for new highs on this run. Let's see, can we pull an exchange with more history? Actually, Coinbase might be the exchange to go to on this one, as it did listed it immediately as it was born. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Yes, so short-term area of interest would be, or not so much short-term, but medium-term area of interest, the upside would be 1200. Still long-term though. 1765 region, 1750 to 1765. Short term, could we see any sort of a downturn? Yeah, I think if this game came back down to like 780 or $800, that'd very likely be a medium term bounce opportunity on the first pass, and it does look like it wants to have some short term downside here. Looking at the 4 hour, yeah, it very likely does come back down, test around like 850 at the very least, but the weekly is not bearish, man, at least not in its current posturing. So short term, yeah, a little bit of downside, but similar to Bitcoin, short term down, I still have to kind of err on the upside on the long term there. Anyways, moving on, we got Satan Slayer. Nice name, man. We got Loose for Satan 666, and now we have Satan Slayer. Love the new time crown. Awesome, man. Can you look at AST USD 4 hour daily on Binance? Okay, AST US derp, and you want Binance. Okay, air swap. 4 hour daily Binance. As for a friend who went long at 22 cents and didn't sell at resistance as I suggested. Ah, the old friend, that damn friend, at it again. Wait, hold on. We must not be looking at the same thing, because if he, wait a second. He went long at he went long at 22 cents. Okay, so he's like massively in the greens right now. He is very likely to see a little bit of a daily down here. It does look like it wants to come back down to about 37 cents region. But what did you, okay, you asked about 4 hour and daily. Very similar to Bitcoin again. You know, yeah, you're very likely to get a 4 hour death cross here. Probably does come back down, swipe the lows at like 37, 38 cents region. But again, man, I'm very hesitant to be like switching around to full on bearish on a lot of these things. Even the 4 hour jewels, not in a bearish posturing. It's also not giving you a buy signal, but it's not in a bearish posturing, and that does help with biases. Looking at the weekly here, okay, so in comparison to a lot of the other coins that we've seen thus far, the weekly on this thing is actually nowhere near what we would expect. This one actually does look like it could potentially be putting in a major high here. We do have obviously bearish evidence coming in from this last high over here to this one right here, and then this one actually did end on a red note yesterday. I mean, they mostly did, but this one does looks like a fucking high as far as I'm concerned. I don't like this kind of stuff, especially when the rest of the market is looking a lot different. So I'm inclined to say that this is going to be the odd man out, but at least short term I would be looking downside, and then probably bounce off of like 37 cents. But as far as your friend getting out at a reasonable price, I mean, he's basically 2x right now. That's pretty fucking good, man. It's pretty fucking good. Then again, you got to let people make their own decisions, right? But you have to understand, I'm coming at this from a perspective as a trader. He's probably, if I had to guess, either an investor or an investor, if you know what I mean. And so, it's a different game, right? If I'm looking at this as a trader, I say, okay, well, this is having some signs of topping right now. Even short term's a little bit of downside, but probably doesn't, probably doesn't bifurcate from the rest of the market, to be fair. So difference of opinion here. For myself, I would get out just because I'd rather pull in like a 2x fucking profit and then find another trade because there's plenty of them around. Super Googly Lee says, Super Googly Lee. Good day, sir. Good day, Super. Could you please have a look at PRQ versus Wrapped Derper? Okay, PRQ, WE. Jesus, like two fucking. This is like trading your weed with acid or something. It's like, all right, this is cool. Actually not a bad chart. Probably put in another higher low right there. Hidden bullish divergence on the daily RSI, making lower lows, alongside price action making higher lows. Yep. I'd be looking for short-term, medium-term moves back up to. Look, I don't know what this fucking number is right here. What is this? Got 3 decimal places. Okay, so it's 9.3 million butyrols. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I do think that this is making a higher low right here. If that's your question, RSI being the key in this one, and also daily TSI. If this one starts to turn up as well, I'd actually be looking for that to turn into the next trending move. In fact, so at the very least, short medium term, I'd be looking for that 9.3, 9.5 million area, and then potential continuation depending upon how the daily TSI shapes up. Jay Suave, hello, Mr. Suave. Can you check out AMP daily on Gemini? Okay. On Gemini, huh? Like you're talking about Gemini? Oh no, you're talking about this. You're talking about cryptos. That you're talking about like Gemini, because there's a traditional exchange that is also called Gemini, but I suspect on this channel most people are talking about cryptos. This one again, hard to hate an uptrend, man. Looking at the weekly, this one has a massive range. This thing could come easily back down to like 42 or 43, and I'd still be bullish on it. Or sorry, this is in dollars, so that would be about somewhere a little bit above 4 cents. Could easily come back down there, and I'd still be bullish on this one long term. Daily looks like continuation from here, albeit there are some warning signals on the next drive of this one. Short term, would I be looking for some downside? Probably, yeah. 5.5 cent, but ultimately I think that this one has another drive to the upside. Let's see if there's any areas of interest in mind here. Yeah, there would be, certainly. In fact, well, Jesus Christ, you. All right, let's get this elongated right here. Big levels right around 8 cent and 9 cent and 7 cent. But I think you already kind of hit, you already hit the 7 cents. So you already see the response from that one. Yeah, next one to the upside would be about 8 and 9. Yeah, just above 8 and just below 9. All right, cool. Let's see. Sarah Beast says, yes, sir. Missed those 2018 10 a.m. Chicago streams. Well, man, they are back, sir. I think this is about the same time, isn't it? Hey, what's up, Jerome? Jerome Bowles movements. Jerome Bowles movement, 100x longer. Can you look at GDX weekly ARCA? Is this a gold miner? I believe it is. I used to trade on ARCA, but I'd never traded this. What I traded was GLD, which is a gold ETF. This thing, let's get the right chart. Yes, this is a gold miner, it looks like. Or is it? Yeah, gold miner ETF. Yep. Okay, cool. It does look like it's actually having a little bit of a short-term breakout, but is that going to have a little bit of a short-term pullback? I think yes. I think this thing could easily pull back down to, even 35, just above 35 bucks. But ultimately, I do think that the reversal is real. We do see bullish divergence come off that low. Again, some phantom div over here as some of the guys have lovingly called it. Weekly TSI turning up, albeit in the bearish buy zone. But I do like this as it does move above all major moving averages. It looks like it is in the process of reversing right now. So I'd be looking for maybe a short-term move to the downside. However, if you are concerned with the long term, which I think you are, I'd be looking for areas of interest right around 37.5 and then big ones at 41 long term. That is. Okay, Electronic Boss. What's up, man? That must be a cyberpunk reference. How much leverage should you use? How do you decide manage lever positions? Okay, this is a really good question because people who are asking this question, look, it's going to sound like I'm going to be a fucking dickhead to you, Electric Boss, but I say this with full love. I say this because I think a lot of people have this completely fucking wrong. All right. Look, if you are choosing your leverage, first off, that exchange is garbage. I've never, ever in my days of, as a professional trader ever had access to choose my leverage levels. No, it was always cross, always portfolio margin. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. The only exchange that does that by default, to my knowledge, is Deribit. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. There's probably some other ones to be fair too. But they're not coming to mind right now. Anyways, what's more important is your actual question. Okay, how much leverage should you use? Okay, first off, how much leverage should you use? There is no right or wrong answer for this question. Look, I would suggest, in my experience, using anything more than 3 to 4x leverage is fucking ridiculous. When I was a professional trader, we had access to as much as 4x leverage. That's as a professional trader, as a market maker, authorized trader on ARCA. Like, that was what we got, 4x leverage. And if you even got to 4x leverage, it was like hush hush. This guy's like kind of, you know, he's very cavalier, like he's very crazy, you know. It was very, very rare that anyone would ever do it. And if it was kind of like a desperation move. In this market, it's been normalized where people like will go, I'm doing 10x leverage trade today because I'm feeling confident. It's like, what the fuck? You're going to lose your money so goddamn fast with 10x leverage. That is ridiculous. What's more so, what people look at leverage as is they look at leverage as to literally just fucking trade more than they actually have. That sounds obvious to a lot of people, but what you really want to be using leverage for is to use a lower equity amount in order to trade what would be a reasonable position so that you don't risk as much as you would have. For myself in this market, that means I actually never do that. What I only do is cross leverage. Cross leverage will make it so that you will use potentially your whole equity in your account as as collateral to put on trades on margin. So what does that mean? That means that if you get liquidated on cross margin, you will lose literally everything in your account on that exchange. Everything will be gone. Maybe save for a little bit of dust, but everything will be pretty much gone effectively. My point is, the way that I find it best, and the way that I've seen just about every professional do it, to my knowledge, is we never fucking choose a little leverage slider. Hey, today's a 50x day. No, that's bullshit. That's silliness. That is gambling. That is fucking gambling, in my opinion. What you should do is, or at least what I would suggest is, and what's worked best for me, just speaking from experience here, is this. I use cross leverage, but that means that I have to be very proactive with managing my risk. That means that if you are not comfortable managing your risk, if you don't even have a risk management plan to begin with, this is not for you. I would suggest not leverage trading at all. I wouldn't even suggest trading at all if you don't have a fucking risk management plan to begin with. That needs to be set in stone. You need 3 things before you enter into a trade at fucking minimum. And realistically, anyone who's serious about this is going to have much more than this. But at fucking minimum, you need an entry, you need an exit, aka profit taking, and then you also need a level as to which you know that your preconceived idea is fucking wrong and not going to work out. That's the risk management, because it can and will happen. This is a game of statistics and probabilities. Statistics and probabilities. That means you can have a 99 spot, 99.999999999, my fucking voice is broken, % chance to win a trade. But over a long enough time series, you will be wrong. And if you don't have a fucking plan for what happens when it goes wrong, you will lose everything. And it doesn't matter how much money you made, because you'll just be giving it back. You need to have a fucking plan for what to do when things go wrong. This is what a lot of people just don't fucking get about trading. This is what separates traders from non-traders, I guess. I don't know, man. Here's the thing. I find that people who have a poker background, or actually a lot of the times a military background, works really well too. I don't know why, but these people, they understand statistics and probabilities very, very well, very, very fast. For a lot of people who fall into what I call the schoolboy mentality, they look for an external source to kind of verify, validate them, and they typically think that if they just have the right formula and can solve the market's issues, then they can just run a bot and become rich because they don't need risk management, because they've actually figured everything out. A lot of people find out about black skulls, for example, which is what I use as a market maker to actually generate quotes. That's how we generated our theoretical values. But I can tell you, as someone who used that, going off those assumptions, yes, price action is in some ways Brownian, especially when you're operating on very, very short-term timeframes. But it's not always. It's certainly not always, and things do trend, and there is randomness as well. And with that in mind, you need to have a fucking plan for what's going to go wrong, because it will go wrong. It has to go wrong, because weird things do happen. Sometimes you just even have risk with shit that you wouldn't even thought of before. Like, let's say you were trading oil and you didn't know that it could go negative. Well, guess what? Last year we found out it can definitely go fucking negative, right? So that's my point, man. How the hell did I get onto that tangent when you're just asking about how do you decide managed lever positions? I don't know. But I just talked your goddamn ear off, and I apologize for that, man. So there you go. All right. Look, the fact that you even asked that question shows that you should, if I'm just speaking straight up here and honest, the fact that you even asked that question, or that was even a thought, means that you should really spend a lot of time Googling around, doing the introductory sort of things, and getting acquainted with this space. Asking a question like that to someone like me, I mean, that's completely fine. That's one of the reasons why I do a stream like this, just kind of just share what's worked for me and what's not worked for me. But I would strongly suggest, before you ever make another trade, learn a little bit more so that you don't have to, so that's not a so that's not like a pertinent thing, because that's really really important to get, because it can be a career ending sort of endeavor if you don't have those things squared away. Anyways, whoa, Jesus Christ, man. All right, I just missed a ton of shit right there. Hey, what's up, Ralph Lauren? Thanks for that, man, but no message alongside of it, so I will just, I guess, wait. All right, cool. Hey, what's up, Philson? Binance maintenance tomorrow? How could you do that on 420? On 420 of all days? Tokyo Channel says, hey, what's up, Tokyo Channel? Could you take a look at USD JPY? Yes, of course I can, sir. Of course I can. Japanese yen is one of my favorite shit coins to trade. versus my other favorite shitcoin, the Great British Pound. Down, man, down. I'd be looking for down here. Probably does bounce a little bit on the 200 exponential average. I mean, we're kind of seeing that right now, but this is clearly a swing failure pattern going on right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing come all the way back down to like 107 and a quarter over the next few weeks. Momentum turning down, weekly RSI getting rejected, weekly TSI like way the fuck up there on a failed, well, not even a failed. It's just another lower high. So I'm inclined to say that this one very likely has some more downside here after a short-term bounce. Could bounce back up to 108 and a half, but as long as this thing's below about 109 and a quarter, there's nothing bullish on this one on higher term timeframes. Cool. Yeah, pound yen is my favorite thing. Oh dear Lord. King Tan says, hello King. Would you please look at ENJ USD on daily? Sure. All right, this one had like news with Samsung, right? Something like that. Down, a little bit of short-term downside action here. I'd be looking for this one to grind out yesterday's low somewhere right around 236 region, 240-ish region, anywhere around there. Probably does try another bounce from there, but we do see a little bit more toppy behavior on this one, to be fair. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Yeah, weekly I'd be looking for bounces in that region, maybe a little bit lower. Now I would switch around to being bearish on this one with any sort of a daily below like 205, two and a nickel, and I'd be bearish on this one. Or even if we just take out yesterday's low, that'd probably be good enough. But for this one, for now, I'd say short-term downside to yesterday's closing low at about 236. And then probably try a bounce from there. But if it starts to take out yesterday's low, big fucking problems. And at that point, I'd be looking for big moves down, probably like 160 to 170. Be pretty damn nasty. Mr. Generous Josh, how you doing, man? Happy Monday, sir. When Call of Duty? I've actually just got back into Red Dead Redemption 2 earlier today. It was really fun marching around on my horse and being the lasso bandito, just lassoing people up and feeding them to crocodiles, because crocodiles are hungry, and we're environmentalists here. Oh, and there he is, Mr. Alex Switch. All right, so we got Alex Switch, we got Pedro, we got Nimbo. It's a lovely day, my friends. It's a very lovely day. All right, sorry, let me get back onto this Josh message here. I want to join the Rampage. I'm all in, baby. Actually, I might get back into Call of Duty. It's pretty damn fun. Also, can you look at VET USD? Yep. Okay, let's see. VET USD. You're looking at weekly. Okay, daily look down and sideways, short term, but still have long term. Okay, let's see. So you want to look at a weekly specifically. We can look at both. Daily honestly looks fine to me. Backfill on yesterday open. This one had a really phenomenal day, all things considered, especially when the rest of the market was having an absolute schlacking. This one actually closed on a fucking up note. So let's put this one in perspective here. Opens, where does this one open? It opens at 22. So it opened like right around here, right? Right around here. Plays out about a 32.5% downside, then closes up on the day. Crazy. Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. Sorry, it opened right here. So that is incredibly impressive. Just a backfill and up. Daily's bullish to me, man. I would actually disagree with you. Daily is bullish. Weekly is bullish. If this one wants to come down a little bit on short-term timeframes to like 22.5 cent test around yesterday's open, I think it was, I would say that that's completely fine. But as long as yesterday's open holds, I wouldn't even be short-term bearish. Now, below yesterday's open, I'd be looking for a clean move back down below 20 cents, somewhere around like 18 to 17.5. But I'd agree with you, man. Long term, I would still like it there. AJ Yanni says EGLD, any pair long term. Gotcha. All right, EGLD. Is this E-Gold? We'll do it versus Tether here. Short term down. I'd be looking for a short term downside move to like 168, 169 region. Let's look at a 4 hour. Did you give a time frame? Long term, you said. Okay, so yeah, short term, I would be looking for a little bit of downside, like 175 is not the question. Maybe even 169. Long term, daily, it's still in an uptrend. I don't really hate this chart. I don't love it either, but it is more or less fine on the whole. Weekly is a little bit in limbo here. You know, could this be construed as a market high? It could be, but with the context of everything else that we've checked out, I'm inclined to say no. I do think it has a little bit of short-term downside again, but I'd look for it to hold a range, man. I can't get bearish on this thing as long as it's especially above, let's call it, you know, as far as the long-term. Okay, so you specifically said long-term, so I'm going to give you long-term here. As long as this thing is closing daily doubles above 140, I wouldn't be bearish on this one like long-term at all. I do think it has some short-term downside, but I think market analysis takes over here yet again. Okay, Benji says, can you look at LYXE USD? Okay, 4-hour or daily. LYXE. All right. Whoa, what the fuck is this? Okay, USD. So this is, this is a crypto. Okay, Luxo. What the fuck is this, man? Daily looks down to me, man. Daily looks down to me. I'll be looking for a move somewhere back down around just above $8. See what the 4-hour looks like. Yeah, 4 hours putting another lower high right there too. Short term, very likely down to 970 region. Could be a short term bounce at around 970, but this one actually does look legitimately bearish here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one back down around like $8 or $7.50 region. Weekly though says, Krown, hold your horses. Maybe you're getting too damn bearish on this one. This is a fucking nice uptrend right here. It's kind of hard to hate, and usually the first test down to the 21 is a buy, and while this one hasn't necessarily just hit it just yet, it's like, look, if you're gonna be looking for most of the rest of the market to have a little bit of short term down and then try bounces from there, should I be, you know, saying the same on this thing? Nine times out of 10, yes. But if anything does look bearish, should be this one. I mean, this one's just bleeding out right here. You know what, man? I'm gonna have to say I don't feel very confident on this one, man. I don't feel very confident on this one. I mean, if anything, the daily jewel has a continuation hold or sell signal. A lot of bad things going on here, but I am very hesitant to go against the general market, especially when the weekly is actually looking in the way that it does. I'd have to say short-term down, very likely a bounce at the level that I mentioned, and then after that, I'd want to see it again. I can't give you anything more than that because I don't have a strong opinion on it, and I have to be transparent in that way. It's just otherwise, you know, otherwise, I just don't have a good read on this one, man. Is the short and plain of it. Oh, Mr. Yasek, my fucking man, perfect timing too, man. It's time for a little bit of water. I am really fucking thirsty right now, actually. Oh, it's so good. Finished water is the best, man. Alrighty, cool. Let's see. La Major 23 says COTI USD weekly and monthly. Okay. Does it even have a monthly? COTI USD. Let's see. Binance weekly. Yeah, it should have a monthly. Actually, this one has a decent amount of history here. I do want to check out a daily just really quick. This one's very similar to the last one, man. I really don't like this sort of structure right here. This is what's known as rolling over, and it's usually really fucking bad. Problem is, this is an altcoin, and altcoins just a lot of the time they'll look really fucking bearish before they pump again. I have to go with the market analysis, and I have to say pretty much the same thing that I did on the last one. Look, I think this one could very easily come back down to like 24, maybe even 25 to 24 cents region. I would be looking for bounces there. I do think that this one's really fucking close to putting in a major high. It might have already even done it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it come down a little bit. First and foremost, hit those levels, try another bounce, maybe try another run to the upside, and then probably this one's going to be done. I think that this one's really fucking close here. Really fucking close. But again, it's difficult for me to get bearish on anything in this market right now. Until we see Bitcoin really topple on over, which it's showing some signs, but it's not quite there just yet, at least for the criteria that I mentioned earlier. Now, here's the obvious thing. If this thing starts to take out yesterday's low, bearish as fuck, look for moves back down to like 17.5, maybe even 15 cents region. But for right now, man, I kind of have to say the same thing that I did on the last one. Short term, yes, a little bit of downside. Long term, I don't feel too confident on this one just yet. Yeah, not very helpful today. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's see. Abbott says, when you began trading, did it take longer to develop a neutral bias on assets you shorted? Took my first trade in September 2020, birthed from the YouTube boo laws, and I'm successful now, but still can't maintain neutrality on Bitcoin. Okay, so you have to understand, when I started trading, I did not start trading in cryptocurrency land. I started trading in traditional land. And so in traditional lands, it's a lot less likely that you're going to fall in love with your asset because there's just a lot less sexy, right? You know, like I could be looking at what was a big one that I traded? Microsoft, for example. Microsoft, I like the company, but I don't really have like a you know, like an identity issue with it. Whereas like Bitcoin, I feel like a lot of people romanticize Bitcoin, myself included in this as well, because we've all seen Bitcoin do what we've known it to do over the past 10 years. You know, it has these absolute massive tears to the upside. And it almost felt like any time when I first got into crypto land, anytime that I took a long on Bitcoin and anytime it started going in my direction, I'd always be like, even if it was like a fucking hourly trade, right? I'd be like, fuck, this could be the time that it literally goes from like, you know, from right here at $1,000 all the way to $20,000, right? You know, you always have that in the back of your mind's eye. That's why I actually don't really like trading Bitcoin on short-term timeframes. I prefer Forex because it's a lot less likely that you're going to fall in love with these, you know, not very sexy pairs, right? Like US dollar versus Japanese yen, like, you know, fall in love with that bitch. But yeah, man, you know, so I kind of have to lay it out like that. But I do feel the same way that you do about Bitcoin, for example, just because, you know, I always kind of have in the back of my mind's eye, you know, these sorts of moves here, whether I like it or not. But the way that I resolve that personally is obviously keeping a detailed trade journal, because, you know, by the time that I came into Bitcoin, I was already a professional trader. You know, I had plenty of experience. Yes, I did have a lot of trials and tribulations with getting into Bitcoin, but they, you know, it wasn't like potentially career ending, for example, right? Whereas in traditional markets, that's where it kind of like, you know, sorted out a lot of my potential or a lot of my not potential, but very real issues. So you know, I do see what you're saying. Yes, my suggestion, or at least the way that I get around these sorts of psychological, you know, attachments, is to, one, keep a trade journal, two, keep like just a regular journal, you know, document your thoughts. It's actually rather useful. You know, you can also just like see what your life looks like over a long period of time. It's actually rather cool to go back and check out what you wrote like a year or two ago. And then also, you know, obviously the trade checklist, which I uploaded on this YouTube channel a few months ago. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Rich Buddy says ATRI USD on daily. Okay, ATRI USD. Okay, this is actually our Atari token. Probably legit as fuck. Jesus Christ. I mean, weekly's not bad here, to be fair, but there's, you know, it's no shock right now. This is very similar to 2017, where, you know, you can just rally by being in this market, and this one actually looks like getting reaccumulated on the 21 right now. I mean, this is a clear uptrend. We even see some good buy pressure coming off of yesterday's failed dump on this one. I'd actually be looking for this one to try some new highs. To be quite honest with you. Did you give a time frame? You did actually. You set a daily. Okay, next good entry. Well, I'm not going to do your trades for you in this case, but I do think if this thing came back down to about 42.25, I'd be looking for bounces there, and I do think that this one probably has another try towards the upside long term. That's what you're interested in. Crypto Gambler say, hey, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Crypto Gambler. I built a business with 12 clients, and I got to hire my 2 best friends to work with me because of your videos. What the fuck? That's great, man. I didn't know my videos did that. I think you did that, man. Give yourself some goddamn credit. That's awesome, though. Seriously, a business with 12 clients and you're working with your 2 best friends. That's awesome, man. Fuck yeah. Good luck with your working with your friends, though, man. That typically ends up terribly, but you know what? I wish you well either which way, man. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Gringenstein says BNB USD 4-hour Binance. Okay. USD. All right. And you want just a 4-hour specifically? Okay. BNB looking strong as fuck, getting a really good buyback from yesterday's lows. I really like that action right there. I know you didn't ask about a daily, but I need to see a daily in this case, and the daily is very, 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 very clear here. We do have potential hidden bullish divergence going on. As soon as this gets confirmed as a local low, how this get confirmed as a local low, any sort of a daily closure today above let's just call it 515. Any sort of a closure above 515, I'll be looking for this one to complete the hidden bullish divergence and initiate targets back up to 550. Short term, medium term would be almost 600 again, and you got to be thinking trend at that point. I know you asked about a 4-hour, so we'll go back to the 4-hour right here. Here's the thing, man. I have no reason to be bearish on something like this as long as it's above the current low at 430. That's also really fucking far away, so that's not too helpful. But you know, we are dealing with big ranges here, and this is kind of what a lot of the other altcoins that we looked at earlier today look like. So when I was talking about that rolling over formation, this is kind of it right here. But as you can see with BNB, which I do think, you know, does have its does kind of take its turns leading, as it is one of the more established exchange coins by this point. You know, puts in a bit of a higher low on those higher term timeframes and marches its way back up. And I suspect that's probably what's going to happen on a lot of those alts, which I was kind of iffy about but I still wouldn't necessarily be willing to put my my name behind him. Let's see. Okay, we got Stefan. Hey, what's up, Stefan? Stefan, hey, what's up? It's been a while, man. Ethereum USD 4 hour is their hidden bullish divergence from April 7th. Let's see. April 7th would be kind of far away to be looking at hidden bullish divergence. This was Ethereum. In fact, I'd be willing to say that it's very unlikely, in fact. Okay, so you're looking at April 7th. No, there's no hidden bullish divergence on this one, not even remotely possible. You're talking about this low and this low. Okay, so here's a little tip. Just the tip. Okay, so first off, technically speaking, no hidden bullish divergence because you did see a trend reversal right there. More importantly, though, what you can do, because this is further back, and I'm using a 14 period on my RSI, I would go to a little bit of a higher term time frame. Let's go to like a 6 hour and see if there is. Would it work in this case? It would work, actually, yes. Would it work on a 10 hour? Let's see if it works on this case. In this case, yes, in fact, it's already been confirmed. Caretaker RSI says it's good, so it's good. Short term, I think we already kind of saw a decent amount of that move play out, but short term, after that, I'd probably be looking for a little bit of downside, and then probably tries another bounce somewhere around like 2150-ish region, maybe even a little bit lower than that, somewhere between about 2120 and 2150-ish region. I'll be looking for bounces, and then probably tries another drive of that too. Cool. There we are. Okay, Jesse Lewis says, hey, Krown, could you check out HYP on JSE? Okay, so this is Japan Stock Exchange. HYP. I have to tell you, man, oh, this is Jamaica Stock. I have no experience with Jamaica Stock Exchange. I just want you to know this. Full transparency here. Zero experience on Jamaican Stock Exchange. I know it says hidden bearish divergence right here. I think that only amounts to a short-term time frame move. Probably back down to about 2860-ish region. Short term, you're saying about a daily. Daily's fine here. Well, long term, this is the shittiest chart of the day. Holy fuck, this is the shittiest chart of the day. My lord, man, we spoke way too soon earlier. Now, I do think that short term, it does have a move to the upside. I mean, this is very obviously consolidating, and it had plenty of chances to break down right here. And what are you getting instead? You're getting higher lows instead. So I'm inclined to say that this one, while it has a little bit of short term downside, ultimately I'd be looking for it to pop back up towards 3,300 within the next few weeks, probably. I'm gonna take some time though, man. Take some time. Tokyo, hey, what's up, Tokyo Channel? All right, Mona, daily, weekly. Oh, let's see how this one held up yesterday. I'm very curious to see this. Did it break that? No. Oh, Mr. Tokyo Channel. All right, so remember yesterday when we identified this right here, just a classic retest of your, of your breakout trend line on the long term, weekly that is. Looks safe to me, man. Looks really fucking good. Weekly Jewel is a hot or your long signal. Weekly TSI, fresh across the upside a couple weeks ago. Weekly RSI, looking strong. All above multi-year resistance right there, going back to July 2018. Yeah, the breakout's real, man. This thing could even come back down and retest like $3, and I'd be looking at that as an opportunity on the next pass. Long term, I'd be looking for $5.50 and probably even more, like very long term, to be honest with you, just with the way that the market's looking for. Okay, John L says, my current strategy is dollar cost averaging while I'm learning. Should I DCA weekly or monthly? Should you DCA weekly or monthly? Well, it depends. It depends what you're thinking. So, okay, I am not a DCAer. I'm not I wouldn't consider myself a long-term investor. While I do hodl Bitcoin that I basically never touch, I don't DCA into it. So what I would say, but I think I can kind of at least maybe help you see what the best answer would be for yourself, or at least a better answer would be for yourself. And so what I'd say to you is, how far out are you looking? If you're looking very far out, then yes, a monthly. If you're thinking on like a 10-year plan, 20-year plan, yeah, get on the fucking monthly. If you're thinking like a 3 to 5 year, I would do the weekly instead. That's the way that I look at it, because if you're DCAing, it essentially implies that you're thinking long-term investment type of strategy, which is completely fine. I mean, I've definitely shitted on DCA strategy in the past, but that's because most people don't understand what a proper DCA is. A proper DCA is to be done in, of course, an uptrending market. When people quote Warren Buffett as talking about the DCA strategy, he's talking about it from the perspective, one, as an active investor, which is a whole different fucking conversation. And then two, most importantly, it's always into an uptrend. You don't DCA into a downtrend. And obviously Bitcoin being in an uptrend right here, that is the time. Yes. So yeah, it depends on your timeline, basically, is what I'm saying. How long are you looking to hold this asset? If it's like more than 5 years, go for the monthly. If it's like like 3 to 5 years, go for a weekly. Okay. AJ says Solana, any pair, long term, toppy. Okay. Let's see. Sol USD. Okay. Binance. No, I don't think it's not toppy on the weekly. Not toppy on the daily either, man. This is continuation. I'd have to disagree, man. I don't think that this is toppy. And this is said as someone who doesn't really care for shitcoins. Actually, it looks like I still got my prior levels in here. I'd have an area of interest somewhere just shy of $40. I do think it's getting close here. Yeah, it's definitely getting close, but hidden bullish divergence on the daily in this case. Daily TSI having a fresh cross the upside, or looking for a fresh cross the upside with any sort of a close. Oh, it's a 39. It's not happening today. All right, very unlikely. Weekly still an uptrend too. No, man, I have to respectfully disagree. I think that this one's got more upside. I mean, look at this fucking buyback on this thing, man. This is powerful as hell. What the fuck? And again, I think that this does bode well for Bitcoin, generally speaking. I mean, everything in this market more or less moves together, and this thing moving to new all-time highs after yesterday's little dumpola. Yeah, that's more or less good, man. Looking good to me. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got, baby. What else do we have? Crypto Gambler says, working with friends, very high risk, high reward, long. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the time, working with friends typically ends in tears from what I've gleaned. Actually, I've even had my own run. Like I think I started like a business with one of my friends, like right out of college, being a personal trainer, and we were pretty damn good friends. After that, not as good friends. Supernova says, hey man, what's up, Supernova? Hope you're doing well. Thanks, man. Hope you're doing well as well. Like always, thanks for your analysis. That's just a nice positive message. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I salute you. That's awesome. Kelly Combs says, just a tip, a $5. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. Just a nice, generous message there. I appreciate that, man. Sincerely. Let's see. Kim Insu says, hey, Krown, not sure if I'm your only Korean viewer. No, I don't think you are, because I believe that there was someone from a while ago, but maybe he's not here anymore. I fucking really want to go to Korea, though. Actually, you know what? Let's. I know you have a question here, but I actually do want to check out Bitcoin versus Korean won, because it sometimes does have a little bit of secrets involved in it. Actually looks more toppy. We'll just pretend this one doesn't exist. This one does look more toppy, though, to be fair. What about Bitcoin versus yen? If you're also Bitcoin versus yen looks about the same as US dollar. If you're wondering why I even have these on my chart, a few years ago in 2017 and especially 2018, early on, the yen Bitcoin yen, Bitcoin won were actually telegraphing moves in advance from Bitcoin US dollar, but that hasn't really been the case for a while now. Could you check out STMX versus the won? STMX versus. I've heard though that South Koreans do not like Westerners. Hopefully that's not true, man. Because I really want to go to South Korea. I really want to see some of those esports competitions in person. Like, it just looks. I'm just fucking nerd. That's actually. Unfortunately, though, I can't find this ticker that you're looking for. I can probably pull it up versus US dollar if that's okay with you. Yeah, it looks like I can pull it up versus US dollar, but not versus the won here. So let's see what we got. Weekly's a bit toppy here. Daily's a bit toppy. Again, this is like that same sort of rolling over behavior that we identified earlier, but just like the other ones that kind of pulled through eventually, I'm more inclined to say that this one does the same thing as well. I just we don't really see the market, have some coins reverse while others just continue. In this case, I'd have to be of the same opinion. I do think it's got some short-term downside. Could very, very likely to hit back down at 5 cents, maybe even a little bit lower than that. But I would be looking for bounces somewhere around or a little bit below 5 cents. Here's where I would get bearish, though. I would get bearish on a daily close, even just any sort of a move below 4 cents would be very, very bad long term. But for right now, I'm inclined to say that it does what the rest of the market is more or less doing. Okay. Aaron says, decided to stop beating my meat for the past 2 years while watching you call out dildos and actually send you some love. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But you can get back to beating your meat. It's good for your health, actually. Although it does apparently kill kittens in heaven, so you might want to consider that. Although, you know what, man, there's plenty of kittens anyways, and they're being born every second, so masturbate away, sir. Fucking stroke that salami, punch that clown, beat that bishop. Go for it, man. Fucking go for it. All right, we're about 128 into this. Okay, this is going to be the last of the last. Marco Puglisi says, hey, Krown, your thoughts on Oriental Land C... what the fuck? Is that a ticker? Okay, I'll check this one out. This is going to be the last one, though. CO466. Okay, that's not a ticker, sir. Sir, do you mind sending me the ticker? Maybe I just type it in. Oriental Land sounds like very racist, by the way. Is this what you're looking for right here? Are you talking about 4661? You are talking about 4661. So this is on Tokyo Stock Exchange. Bad, at least for the information that we do have. I'd be looking for a bounce here off the daily, but not much more than that. This one looks pretty nasty for what we just looked at. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, I think short-term bounce here, but is this one ready to topple over a little bit more? I think so, yes. Jewel did get a really good sell signal right here, but I mean, that's been already a phenomenal move playing out. So, you know, if it did come down to the 200 simple here or 200 exponential average, I'd say that that'd be a major opportunity long term. I think that I do think that it tries to bounce here first. Bounce can maybe even get back up to like 16,000 plus, but I have to be bearish on this one, as long as especially below about 17,000 bucks there, long term. I'm not really okay. Yeah, you were asking for long term. Let's also go look at a monthly as well. What is a monthly looking like? Yeah, monthly bounce first, and then probably a little bit lower. You know, I'd be looking somewhere around the daily 200 simple and 200 exponential average, and that would be, or sorry, not daily, but weekly, and that should be a very obvious opportunity. I mean, this has just been your lows pretty much the whole rally since 2011. Actually, you can see the 200 exponential average, 200 simple, phenomenal basin areas right here, and you could even consider this a bit of a test right there too. So if it comes anywhere around there, I'd say that would be a more or less really good thing. All right, last one. All right, Abbott Dynamics says it was like night and day after your psychology series in general content and constantly improving with it. Thank you very much. Wish I found you for. Hey man, I'm very glad to hear that, man. Very fucking glad to hear that. But again, man, you put in the work. You know, like this game is not fucking easy, man. There's plenty of people who will, you know, they'll go through a program, they'll spend their time learning and everything, but they don't actually get success. And to actually have success shows that you really did something different and that you really put in the time and hours. And I know that it's not fucking easy because I have done this as well, and I know that it wasn't fucking easy for me, and you know there's still struggles with it on a daily on a daily basis as well, although those struggles, they obviously become better and better struggles, you know, by the day, right? But that's, you know, that's what you want the trend to be, I suppose. All right, Mark Tai, last one. It's like definitely the last one. DBC. Let's see, you want to do this on Invesco, daily, weekly. Daily looks good, but I suspect that there is a little bit of short-term downside here. If it bases again at like 17 bucks, that should be an obvious opportunity. Weekly is good. Yeah, so if this one, weekly have to be bullish on. We do have a real reversal here. Long term, I'd be looking towards 18 and a quarter, maybe even more long term. Long term, this is terrible, but this does have a multi-year long resistance right around 18 and a quarter to 18 and a half. I would generally be looking up there. Does it have a short-term pullback first? I do think it's possible here. Yeah, coming back down to like 17 and a quarter would certainly not be out of the question. So with that said, fellas, it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, kind of wrapping up my thoughts on Bitcoin. Short-term, a little bit of downside perhaps here. Whoops, we're on the wrong chart there. There we go. Kind of caught within this medium-term time frame range, mediated by the short-term time frame range. That's 56,000 bucks right here versus 58 to the upside versus 54 to the downside. As long as we're caught within there, and the more that Bitcoin goes sideways within this range, I do look at that as more or less a good thing. If Bitcoin can hold this range for the next couple of days, I'd actually be looking for Bitcoin to mount another drive towards somewhere around 59.5 to maybe even 60,000 bucks, and we'll come back to it after that. But for right now, just a little bit of a short-term time frame range. I imagine that it's going to be more or less boring. Keep an eye on traditional markets for right now, of which they're planning a short-term pullback, but I still do remain long-term bullish on them. Also keep an eye on Coinbase here too. Coinbase looks to me like it's putting a bit of a base, at least for now, after the initial sort of hysteria kind of runs amok, and any sort of move back above 350, and I'll be looking for this one to have a little bit of a rip back up to like 369, maybe even another stab at like 400 overall. Well, no, I wouldn't say that just yet. That's pretty fucking far away. But at least at least a little bit of short-term upside, somewhere around like 369 region. Anyways, with that said, fellas, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed this one. Really enjoyed the talks, and I wish everyone well, man. It's been a great start to the Monday. I salute you all. Take care, and